Okay, so I wanted to make a video trying to explain for loops conceptually. So this isn't really going to focus too much on the syntax or how to use them practically, but just as a concept, what is a for loop in programming? If you're having a hard time with it, um, maybe this will help. We'll see. It's important to know, and just well, to be clear, this is like a very beginner's tutorial or video. You shouldn't be an advanced programmer of any, intermediate, whatever, and still be confused about this. So everything in this video is going to be pretty simple. Um, if you're not sure what a variable is yet, or why we would use them, if you're at that phase of learning to program, I would say just like take our word for it that there is a reason why you would use variables. I remember this feeling when I very first started of being confused about like, well, yeah, but why would you name X? You'll see somebody say like A is equal to B or 3. And it's like, well, yeah, but why would you do that? And there's kind of this conceptual block for me at the beginning where if I can't understand why you would do something, I have a hard time understanding it. You just Variables can be a little bit complicated. There are good reasons to use variables. So just take our word for it at first, do a little bit of research. I'm not going to go into fully like why you would use variables. Lots of people try do the heavy lifting and explain this, but you just have to trust the variables are worthwhile. And so X here is a variable, and it's like a bucket. When you're going to make a list, a list in Python is just anything. You can make a list by saying a variable equals to, and then the empty brackets here makes a list. You can make this a variable. A variable can be anything you want it to be, any name. So I can name it A or B or whatever, X. And this one, I'm going to make a string, and it's just going to be the letter A. So this is a variable that is equal to, it's a string that's the letter A. Maybe a little bit confusing, but if I just run this, if I print um, the variable A, and then I'm going to under it print the string A. Let's see, we'll comment this out so that none of this runs. You can see that the variable A and the string A print the same thing because the variable A is equal to the string A. So that's just a real brief little about variables. But if your variable is instead going to be a list, if it's not going to be a string like A was, but it's X, it's destined to be a list. You need to think of this list as like a bucket. You can put things in this list. So you can put strings in here. You put the string hello, and then another string says fire, another string car. So now there are 3 separate items in the list. And you know what? For the sake of simplicity, let's call these, we're going to have apples in the bucket. We've got 3 apples in our bucket X. So if I wanted to, okay, so this is, I feel like where part of the concept comes in for loops. If I want to print apple 3 times, you could just print X, right? So I could, let's see, if I just print the variable X and run it, it just prints the list with the things that are in it. So what's in it are 3 strings, each string being the word apple, a combination of characters equal to that makes apple. And the for loop, though, if I said for item in X, you're saying for every item in the bucket, do something. So if you looked into a bucket and there were 5 apples, and I said for each one of those apples, slap me in the face, you're gonna get slapped 5 times, or as many apples are in the bucket. That's how many times you get ready to get slapped, right? So if I say for item in X, I'm saying for each item in here, which is 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, do something that many times. It doesn't matter what item it is. If you had Y equal to a list 1, 2, 3, and then you come down here, you say for item in Y, print hello. Well, like, can you figure out what it's going to do? Prints hello 3 times because it's printing. It's doing the instructions the number of times that there's it's a little bit, get twisted up with my words here. For apple in bucket, the number of apples in the bucket, do something. The instructions go down here. So I want to print hello, and then I want to print okay. And it's going to do that also 3 times. It's going to go down this list. It does this, and then it does this, and then it resets. So it's going to print hello once, print okay once, and then go back to the top of the list. That's the whole concept of a loop. So if you added an item to this list, and if instead it had 5 items in the list, for item in Y, so for every apple in the bucket, do these things. Print hello, and then say okay. And then do it again. 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 And that's 5 times, and now you're done. So then the loop is over. So you'll see now it's doing it 5 times. You've got hello and okay on the screen 5 times each, because there are 5 items in Y. 4 item in Y. That's about it. That's the concept of for loop. If I left something major out, or if you're still confused, try and explain how you're still confused, and I'll try my best to recreate this video and hit the points better.